Ubaid, a 20-year-old Muslim man, lives in the city of California. His biggest aspiration is to study at the University of California, UCLA, but his lifestyle says otherwise. From the outside, his life seems comfortable, but on the inside, it is a mess he can't untangle. Every morning, he wakes up with the weight of undone tasks crushing him, yet somehow, he never finds the energy or focus to tackle them. Instead of opening his books, he hides himself in the digital world under his blanket. He believes that using a phone under the blanket in winter has a warmth that is one of its kind. PUBG Mobile becomes his escape. He plays it with friends who are not very different from him. His company is screwed up too. Hours turn into days and days into weeks, with Ubaid constantly pushing off his studies and chatting with chatbots. He tells himself he'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. His homework piles up until the exams loom over him like a storm cloud. As his responsibilities grow heavier, Ubaid's heart grows more restless. Why can't I just sit and study? He mutters to himself, feeling trapped in a cycle of procrastination and guilt. His mother notices his detachment from life. One evening, as she gently reminds him to focus on his future, Ubaid snaps. "You don't understand anything. Stop controlling my life. You have no idea what I'm suffering from. Why did you bring me into this world? My parents never understood me." His harsh words hang in the air, piercing her heart. She leaves the room silently, tears in her eyes. The guilt of that moment haunts him, but instead of apologizing, he drowns his feelings in more distractions. Videos about motivation, self-help, and productivity. Yet he never really watches a video fully. He doesn't even remember what he has learned from them. He spends hours consuming content, hoping for a magical solution, but nothing changes. He feels numb. Deep down, he senses that there is something more important than just studying, something he can't name, but he keeps searching. One night, Ubaid stumbles upon an Islamic video. The speaker's words hit him like a bolt of lightning. Procrastination is not laziness. Often it's a form of anxiety, a fear of failure, a fear of facing reality. Shaitan loves to keep you in this cycle because it distances you from your purpose. Ubaid pauses the video, his heart pounding. Anxiety. Is that what has been holding me back all this time? Was it really that simple? Have I been a fool this whole time? Regret washes over him. Why didn't I know this before? He reflects on his past. You have to get organized, Ubaid. If you want to get your bachelor's degree from UCLA, there are so many opportunities he has missed because of his habit of delaying. Internships he never applied for, friendships he let fade, classes he could have excelled in. Every memory feels like a wasted chance. My life is a joke, he thinks, anger bubbling inside him. He clenches his fists, overwhelmed by frustration and self-loathing. The next morning, Ubaid decides to start fresh. He pulls out his books and sits at his desk, determined to study. But as soon as he opens a page, his chest tightens and his thoughts race. What if I fail again? What if it's too late for me? His little brother Zaid is watching a movie on the computer. Shaitan tempts him to look at haram. All these opposing forces are too deadly for him. The cycle continues. Days turn into weeks, and Ubaid's exams are just around the corner. One evening, his mother places a plate of food beside him. He looks at her and says, "I'm sorry, Mother. Forgive me this last time." But she doesn't look at him. Her silence hurts more than her words ever could. "I failed her too," he thinks, guilt gnawing at him. That night, he can't sleep. Tossing and turning, he finally gets up and makes wudu for the first time in months. He stands for tahajjud, his voice cracking as he whispers, "Ya Allah, help me. I don't know what to do anymore. I can't think clearly. The past is unbearable and the future feels hopeless." Only you can help me. Please help me get good grades so that I can study at UCLA. You know that it's a very valuable degree." After his prayer, Ubaid opens the Quran. His eyes fall on a verse, "And whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out and will provide for him from where he does not expect. And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him." For Ubaid, exams were starting the next day. He went to the second floor to study for his English exam. Opening his grammar notes, he was determined to focus. But after some time, distracting thoughts began to creep in. His resolve weakened, and he couldn't concentrate anymore. Eventually, he grabbed his phone. He told himself it was just for a moment, but it wasn't. Soon, he was watching haram videos on YouTube. Pictures weren't enough, so he moved on to videos. He wasted 2 hours like this. Afterward, he felt ashamed and exhausted. He took a shower to clear his mind, then sat down to study again. But his focus was broken. His memory felt jumbled and his thoughts were messy. Still, he pushed himself. He kept reminding himself Allah loves the brave. Even with effort, he couldn't study steadily. He switched between cramming and scrolling on his phone. Regret filled his mind. "I wish I hadn't wasted the year gossiping and talking uselessly," he thought. "My goal should be to study as hard as I can so that I can get a chance at UCLA. Good grades can get me a scholarship, but it's slipping away. I can't let it go so easily." The exam days. Finally, the day of his first exam arrived. While others walked confidently into the exam hall, Ubaid was still cramming. "Roll number 161?" the superintendent asked. He stuttered. Inside, Ubaid struggled. The things he had crammed were tangled in his mind. He couldn't think clearly, but he did his best to answer the questions, even though it felt like a battle. He had 3 days before his chemistry exam. It was his chance to prepare, but he didn't use it well. The idea of studying the whole book and prioritizing important topics felt overwhelming. He overthought every key question instead of making real progress. He fapped twice a day and got a fever during his math exam. Those 2 weeks were nothing less than a battle for Ubaid. Although he felt uncertain about the results, he was somewhat satisfied because he had kept fighting till the end. At times, he failed to use his time effectively, and yet, at times, he succeeded too. "I'm looking forward to my results. I guess I'll be all right because I attempted every question. But the fear of the past is still there." That was the summary of his 12th grade exams. The results. Oh wait, it's not the end yet. One day, as Ubaid sat at his desk, his mother entered the room. He stood up and hugged her tightly. "I'm sorry for how I have treated you," he said, his voice trembling. She smiled through her tears. "I want the best for you, my son. Tell me about your exams. I prayed to Allah a lot about your future. You will get into UCLA, inshallah." "I don't know, Ma. I think I cannot make it. I wasted a lot of time. I cannot forgive myself. It's my fault." Today was Ubaid's result day. His anxiety was so severe that he couldn't sleep properly. He prayed Fajr and kept asking Allah for good news. At 2 p.m., his fingers hovered over the keyboard as he typed his roll number. His heart pounded, each beat echoing in his ears. With a deep breath, he pressed enter. The screen loaded slowly, the spinning wheel of anticipation mocking him. He clenched his fists, whispering, "Ya Allah, please help me." Finally, the page refreshed. His grades appeared in bold letters. C, D, D, C, D. His eyes scanned the screen. His heart sank further with every grade. He slumped back in his chair, staring blankly at the results. "Is this all I could manage?" he whispered, his voice trembling. A mix of emotions overwhelmed him: disappointment, shame, and a pang of regret for the wasted time. He thought about his parents' sacrifices, the nights he spent distracted, the dreams of studying at the University of California, UCLA, slipping further away. But amidst the storm of emotions, a small voice in his heart spoke. This isn't the end, it's a wake-up call. Ubaid wiped his face with his hands, whispering another dua. Ya Allah, give me strength to improve. Guide me to become better. Now he realized something. Why is it so hard to sit down and work? The reason is simple, but we make it complex so that we don't have to face reality. The answer is in this verse. With hardship comes ease. Hardship has to be endured first to experience ease. If studying were easy, everybody would be doing it. You don't need fancy strategies. You need self-discipline. You need good advice, not just any advice. The truth is, good things are found on the other side of fear. Don't be like me, my dear brothers. Don't waste your time. Study right now. A different path. Despite all his efforts, Ubaid couldn't secure admission to UCLA, the university of his dreams. Instead, he ended up enrolling in a low-grade university miles away from home. It was a reminder that sometimes our choices determine the paths we walk. What about you? Do you see yourself in Ubaid's story? Have you faced similar struggles? Or are you fighting your own battles with procrastination and missed opportunities? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I am a one-man army, and it takes me a lot of time to make these videos. The only way you can help me continue this cause is to subscribe to INNERIMAN and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss the next story that might inspire you to rewrite your own. Jazakallah for watching. See you in the next one.